Um, of course, I cannot answer all these questions. I will just focus on the issue of class and political organizational issue. First of all, of course, class struggle is not separated automatically or is not necessarily separated from women's struggle or gender struggle. There is nothing incompatible as such in class struggle with gender struggle. But I think if we have a look at the history of the development of the workers' movement, we can see how actually what class struggle means can be articulated in completely different ways. You were talking about your experience in the union. I think this is just, if we have a look at the common everyday life experience of women in unions or class-based organizations and so on, I think that we constantly have cases of underestimation or downplaying of gender issues, sexuality issues, and of the protagonism of women. So the problem is not, of course, is not to drop then the necessity or centrality of class struggle just to focus on gender struggle, but rather the problem is to rethink what class means and what it means to have then class struggle. Very often, so what I think we should try to do is also to avoid thinking about class and gender has to, of course they are not the same thing, it's two different categories and so on, but at the same time the problem is also to see how class, when we speak about class, we always need to take into account the fact that class does have genders, is gendered. This has to do not only with the sociological composition, that means there are women working, surprise, but it has to do also with the process of politicization of the class. So what is the concrete political and social experience that the class does in constituting itself as a political class, and how gender plays a role in this? In other words, how does the class struggle, and what kind of role gender plays in this? What kind of significance has the fact that there are women, for example, fighting on certain demands and so on. The same thing for race and so on and so on. So how to do this? You were asking about the issue of women's organization. There was also somebody else speaking about this, the autonomous organization of women within mixed organizations and movements and so on, the problems that this raises, the fact also that there is also a double work to do, double number of meetings and so on and so on. Now, the problem is this. I'm certain really from my concrete experience, because I have been always part of autonomous caucuses, women's caucuses within all the organizations I was part of. And at a certain moment, I started thinking that maybe this also was a double-edged solution, because the risk was, I was increasingly dissatisfied with the solution, because the risk was also to create some kind of ghetto for women or for LGBT people within the organization, so that the organization could say how feminist we are without actually doing anything about this, and leaving women or LGBT people doing all the work on their own, with also the problem of doing the double of the work. At the same time, what I saw when I started trying to have a different kind of experience, which was trying to push the organization as a whole to take up feminist or sexual liberation issues and so on, is that without women's caucus, the situation was not going better, it was going worse. In other words, even there was even a deterioration of relations and experiences within the organization. For example, we started having cases of sexual harassment, to give an example. So this is why I said that having autonomous caucuses is not the solution of all evils, but it's still a first step. And the reason is this, that when you have a social contradiction, that is what I said about the fact that we have different kind of experiences, we experience exploitation in different ways. There is a hierarchy that is given by capitalism itself within the working class itself, which is based on race and on gender in particular. The specific oppression of racialized people or sexualized people and so on never becomes the priority. Never becomes one of the priorities of an organization if there isn't a subject, a collective subject that forces the organization of the group to actually take this as a priority. And I'm saying to actually take this as a priority in the sense that it is not just a matter of writing nice documents. It is a matter of really privileging or giving the correct priority to these aspects in the everyday activity of the organization. This, of course, creates all sorts of problems. The risk of creating a ghetto, the double amount of work, also the risk of having significant conflicts within the organizations and the groups in which we are. So the risk of multiplying conflicts and so on. All these are risks, but the alternative is worse. So in a sense, we are basically stuck. In other words, this is a difficult, it's a difficult life, but this is the outcome of capitalism. This is what capitalism is. Capitalism constantly creates this kind of hierarchies and divisions. We have to deal with this. We don't have any other solution but to deal with this, which means it's headache, it's tiring, it's the double amount of work. There can be organizational solutions to solve the issue. For example, we can eliminate some useless mixed meetings and have more gender-based or race-based meetings, for example. Not all meetings are so useful. Not all mixed meetings are so useful. So there can be organizational also, there can be an organizational tension to this point to make our life easier. But basically, I don't think we have much choice. And I think that the history of the last decades of fragmentation of struggle on the one hand and gender insensitiveness of mixed organizations that didn't allow, for example, for the autonomous organization of women or LGBT people within their own organization, I think is telling, is a real problem. So it's a difficult struggle, but I don't think we have many choices but to do it.